She pulled into town one cool autumn afternoon, driving slowly down the main street. She stopped at the only traffic light before parking in front of the grocery store. Carolyn bought bread, bologna, cheese, pickles, chips, and a Coke. Then she climbed back into her car and drove to the edge of town, where she noticed a small park and a grove of elm trees. She stopped there to eat her picnic lunch. As she dumped her trash into the metal barrel, Carolyn caught her breath. There it was. At long last, after 5 years of search, she had found it. Tucked into a secluded spot in the woods stood a little cottage. The one she had always imagined as a riding retreat. A dirt path led from the park to the cottage front gate. Walking slowly along the path, Carolyn tried to soak up every detail around the small, deserted building. Fallen elm leaves crunched beneath her feet as she walked reverently through the white picket gate and up the old brick walk to the front porch. She tried the front door. It opened without resistance. A quick inspection made her heart beat a little faster with anticipation. It was the perfect place for a well-known author to find the anonymity and solitude necessary for writing. Returning to the front porch, Carolyn sat down in the swing and began to push it gently, back and forth, back and forth. Its metal chain squeaked softly in rhythm with her thoughts. It needs new paint. The shingles on the shelf have to be replaced. The roses need to be pruned, and the lawn has to be mowed. But mostly, it needs someone to live in it, love it, care for it. It's perfect. I wonder why it's empty. Is it for sale? A sudden impulse sent Carolyn running back to her car. She drove quickly back into town to find the local real estate office. When she asked about the little cottage, she learned it had been repossessed by the bank. The former owners couldn't pay back taxes. All she had to do was pay the taxes, and it was hers, which is exactly what Carolyn did. Handing her the key and deed to her new riding retreat, the real estate agent told her about a local fix-it man named Henry. He could help her make the needed repairs. Carolyn stopped to talk to him on her way back to the cottage and arranged for him to begin work the next day. By mid-December, all the repairs had been made. The roof no longer leaked. The cottage had a fresh coat of pale yellow paint and forest green shutters. The lawn had a manicured look, and Carolyn had added some homey touches inside. It was the perfect haven for writing. Soon she could sit down at her desk overlooking the goldfish pond and begin working on her next novel. One chilly afternoon, as Carolyn swept the leaves off the front porch, she heard a small voice say, "Hello." Looking up, she saw a little red-headed girl swinging on the front gate. "Well, hello," said Carolyn with a smile. "What's your name?" "Jenny." "What's yours?" "Carolyn." "How do you like the house?" the little visitor asked. "Oh, I love it. It's just what I've always wanted." "We liked it too," said Jenny. "It looks nice with the new paint." Carolyn stopped sweeping. "Thanks. Did you live here?" "Yes, until my daddy died. Then we had to move." "Where do you live now?" Carolyn asked with concern. "In the shelter downtown." Carolyn put down her broom and walked out the gate. "I'm sorry your daddy died. What happened?" "He was sick for a long time and he couldn't work. The doctors couldn't make him well and they said he had something called leukemia. He died last year just before Christmas. Then the bank told Mama that we'd have to move. She cried a lot after that." "I'm sorry, Jenny. Say, I've got some lemonade inside. Would you like some?" "Thanks, but I have to go now. My mom will be worried about me, and I have to take care of my baby brother while she cooks dinner at the shelter. Maybe I'll come back sometime. Oh, please do, Carolyn said quietly as Jenny walked away, glancing back at the little cottage wistfully 2 or 3 times before she was out of sight. Suddenly, Carolyn's happy little cottage, her dream, seemed sad and lonely. In her mind, she could see Jenny and her family playing in the yard. She could imagine the smell of homemade bread baking in the small kitchen. She could hear the sounds of laughter, which seemed to echo eerily in the trees. She knew what she had to do. On Christmas Eve, Henry, dressed up in a Santa Claus suit, rang the bell at the downtown shelter. He entered with a happy ho, 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 and started giving presents to all the children. He handed Jenny a special doll with red hair just like hers, and he had a big blue rubber ball for Jenny's baby brother. The last thing in Santa's sack was an ordinary white envelope. He walked quietly over to Jenny's mother and said, "Sarah, this is for you." Looking quizzically at him, Sarah took the envelope and tore open the seal flap. When she removed the piece of paper from the envelope, a key fell into her lap. She recognized it immediately. When she looked at the paper, she realized it was the deed to the cottage, with her name on it, marked, paid in full. Tears welled up in her eyes as she pulled out the second piece of paper. The light blue note read, "Please come home. I miss you. Merry Christmas." And it was signed, "The Cottage by the Park." She wandered into their lives, touched them gently, and then selflessly wandered away, never to be seen by them again. She had amazed them with her kindness and generosity, and yet she was no bigger-than-life heroine. She was just an ordinary woman, a woman who gave up her dream for someone else's. She was a person, probably very much like you.
Jesus Christ.